Hey, hello, everyone. We are back. I am Dr. Garrett Smith, also known as the Nutrition Detective around these here YouTube parts. And we have episode 219 today. We're going to do another live chat Q&A because I've been working on lots of things, including that good old hair regrowth program. The hair regenesis program is what it will be called. And I got to finish that. We had some snags with things putting it out last week, like I mentioned. So it should be coming out. Just if you want to know about it, get on our newsletter list. Quickest way to get on the newsletter list is madnessofmodernnutrition.com is one place you can go and sign up. That's our free email course. And you could sign up there and that'll put you on the newsletter list to get all of our newsletters. Or you can go on our main website at nutritiondetective.com. And up at the top, there's a sign up for our newsletter kind of thing. And the madnessofmodernnutrition.com. So you can go to either one of them. So those are the places if you want to get notified as soon as the hair regrowth program comes out, which should be, I'm not promising a date, but it should be very soon this week. Because I have to get it done because Kelsey's coming to visit. So I got to get it done before then. Anyway, so we have a Q&A today. So I have some testimonials to go over first. If you guys have questions, post them in the chat. If you want to do super chats, we do prioritize those once we get to the questions. But the testimonials today are pretty cool. So let me share my screen so Joe has that all up because I didn't have it ready. There we go. That should be it. Yeah, so it's sharing now. Joe, we can go over to that, please. Let me see. You got it. Okay, so first testimonial. Let me do the full screen. And Joe will post the link to this in the live chat and probably as a comment in the video after we're done. And I'll try to do my best to remember to pin it. But we have a testimonial. For those of you who don't necessarily believe in copper toxicity, or who seem to think, or you believe the internet and AI and all the other trash out there that only people with Wilson's disease accumulate copper. You're wrong. They're wrong. They don't want you to believe in copper toxicity. There was somebody on Twitter the other day saying, all your health problems are because you're copper deficient and copper's electric, and that's why you're having health issues. And I'm like, oh, good luck with that. They're trying to get people to drink out of copper cups and copper vessels. And oh my goodness, folks. Why isn't everybody fixed from their copper water pipes? I just don't understand it. And how could people forget all about these copper cups and never use them? It makes the water taste bad. It tastes like metal. Not good for you. Oh gosh. Yeah, I'll get to that. I saw the super chat. Okay, so first testimonial. This is someone who this was a private testimonial sent to Kelsey, and we try not to say people's names or initials or any of that stuff, so we're not going to. Here's the testimonial. So Kelsey talks in here. Today, I noticed the blue ring around my iris was gone from my brown eyes. Yay, copper detox. And Kelsey asked her, have you been tolerating the glutamate better now, as in like MSG? Yes, steadily taking a quarter teaspoon a meal. And this is still this person continuing. And I know I still had the ring in the past month. So it's a recent achievement. Now, I want you guys to understand this is a legitimate thing. I'm going to go to another tab here, Joe, if you want to switch over with me. It's called a Kaiser-Fleischer ring. So if you can see here on this eye, it's this blue ring around the outside. So here's another picture. You see this blue ring on the outside. What color is oxidized copper, folks? It's like that turquoisey-ish blue. This is accumulated copper in the eyes. Vitamin A accumulates in the eyes. Weird that these toxins would both accumulate in the eyes and the liver, right? So we're going to look at her picture here. So this is her pupil. This is the iris, the colored part, and you see the blue out here. Yes, this is a reflection here. So you see the blue ring out here. Okay. Oh, screen. Sorry, Joe. Sorry. Thank you, Joe. Just Joe types S when I forget to change my screen, and he was frantically typing S. Sorry about that, Joe. I'm talking to myself here. So yeah, so see this ring here? This is the ring out here. Sorry, I got to explain it all again. This is the blue ring on someone who does not have Wilson's disease. There are people out there who claim we don't know how to copper detox, which is cute because these people are so copper toxic themselves and they seem to think that they know how to detox copper. So let's go to her after picture. Do you see the blue ring anymore on the outside of the eye? This is the after pic. There is no blue ring. Let's go back and review. Let's look over here. Kaiser Fleischer rings, blue ring around the eye. Load the screen. Blue ring around the eye, blue ring around the eye. Okay. Lots of pictures of it here. These blue rings around the iris. Okay. So let's go back. This is the before picture. Blue ring. This is the after picture. You see how the blue ring's gone? Now, people here have commented, those of you who are into iridology and other things of that nature, which I think may have some use, but it doesn't tell you what to do. It just tells you where you're messed up, which doesn't make it that useful to me. Like knowing how you're messed up doesn't tell you how to fix it, right? So we have this stuff going on, and we've had I want you to look at a general thing here that people have commented about me. They have said that my eyes are getting lighter, which in iridology is generally thought to be a sign of better health. Okay? Many of you have commented about it. Now look at I know these are not the same setup of picture, but look at the color of the iris here and look at it here. You see how it's lighter? Blue ring gone, lighter iris. This is health. This is what we're doing. It's crazy that people out there are saying we don't do the right things when we get these testimonials that nobody else does. So I feel bad for them that they're so in denial of what we're doing. It must be a terrible place to be. So that's the first testimonial. Let's go back to this. So let's go to the second testimonial. This one's kind of a long one, but this is about MSG. So if you haven't seen the MSG live stream, and if you haven't figured out that MSG is actually a very extremely potent detox thing, MSG is extremely potent at helping you to detox. And it doesn't cause much in the way of like detox dumping symptoms because your body just wants glutamate to run it. Remember, your liver enzymes make glutamate. Your liver enzymes make glutamate. So if your liver enzymes are high, what is your liver desperately trying to make? Your liver is desperately trying to take other parts of your body, other amino acids, and turn them into glutamate because it needs it to heal and fix things. So you can just take in glutamate. MSG is a sodium. MSG, that monosodium is just such a stupid name. It's sodium glutamate. When it goes into your body and when it goes into fluids, just like sodium, like salt, sodium chloride, it goes into the water and it splits. MSG is sodium and glutamate, and it goes into water and it splits apart. So it's a sodium and a glutamate. That's it. If you believe all the stuff about glutamate being an excitotoxin and ruining your brain, well, let's see what it's doing for this person's brain. This testimonial was put in the Love Your Liver program. I won't say who it is. If you're in the Love Your Liver program, you can find the testimonial. Here we go. MSG is blowing. Oh, let me make this a little bigger. MSG is blowing me away. I hate to admit it, but I fell majorly off the low vitamin A diet due to insane dairy cravings, especially for cheese. Have been having large amounts of cheese daily for a while now. It's like nothing else in the world would scratch that itch. Okay, I'm going to tell some of you, those of you who paid attention through the calcium debacle here, it is quite likely that all the folks who thought that they need dairy and they needed all this calcium from dairy and the dairy made them feel better it's probably the glutamate, and they haven't figured it out yet. It's just the glutamate for the most part. If you crave cheese, if you crave tomatoes, a lot of us crave meat, but meat doesn't always get us enough glutamate. If you're craving things that you go and you find out have glutamate in them, like, I don't know, coconut aminos are one. They're not a great source, but it's something. So if you crave these things that you find out later have glutamate in them, especially cheese, you're most likely craving glutamate. Cheese is one of the highest foods we eat in glutamate. Remember, wheat is too. As I go over in the MSG live stream, when you think of American fast food, wheat, cheese, beef, tomatoes, how many different ethnic foods out there are just variations on wheat, cheese, beef, and tomatoes? Why do people crave it? Because they want the glutamate, but they're eating a bunch of crap food to get it. They don't have to eat the crap food. And if you get the glutamate, you stop craving the crap food. So let's keep going. Never in a million years would I have imagined it could be glutamate cravings. Right up until a few days ago, my cheese cravings were still in the driver's seat. Amazed that after having MSG to taste, even with a vegetarian meal like beans and zucchini, I feel the same satisfaction I'd feel after eating half a bag of shredded cheese, but with a much clearer mind and actual energy. MSG takes any protein you eat and makes it better and go further. Okay, this is why we have a lot of people now, a lot of guys especially, but women too, who are saying their muscle mass is improving while their body fat is going down. You're actually getting more protein out of the same food. It just makes it work better. I go over this research in the MSG live stream. I'm very early in this experiment, just a few days, but I'm already sold. Why? I keep small mason jars filled with Jacobson's kosher salt, potassium chloride powder, and now MSG. I could mix them, but I prefer dosing them separately per meal based on taste. I even found that as I was chewing, I enjoyed taking a pinch of MSG and just pouring it right into my mouth. I'm telling you, the cheese cravings have been insane, and nothing else was giving me that satisfaction. Hard to believe taking MSG has been knocking these cravings out by giving me a sense of satisfaction after eating a meal, and additionally, excitement about eating it. I've been so used to feeling bored to the point where eating beans with salt and potassium chloride feels like a punishment. I've had a bunch of beans I cooked in the pressure cooker sitting in the fridge for over a week now. In the past couple days, I've eaten more of them than I have in the past 8 days combined, and we'll probably go through most of them tomorrow thanks to MSG. The most major thing I'm noticing is satiety, like true deep satiety, which is weird because me and one of my friends have a running joke that you always feel hungry like 20 minutes after eating Chinese food. I'm finding the opposite with straight MSG. I walk away from a meal feeling actually satisfied, which is something I would break down and go to fast food for. Hey, you see it? Nothing else was scratching that itch. Probably my biggest enemy on the Love Your Liver diet has been junk food cravings, particularly with lots of cheese, as well as fast food. And this person obviously paid attention to what I talked about: wheat, meat, cheese, potatoes, tomatoes. Go figure. They know what they're doing, folks. Anyway, excited for what's to come. Also, MSG is going to save me a lot of money in the long run that I might have otherwise spent on junk food. Even if you didn't care about your health at all, fast food these days is murder on your wallet. It is. Restaurants are murder on your wallet. I feel bad for the restaurants that are all going to go out of business because their prices are just going up and up. Never in a million years would I have thought glutamate cravings could be underlying these addictions. This person said this in the comments. They continued in the comments. Also, still too early to tell, but I've been noticing a dramatic increase in productivity and ability to focus. Does this sound like a neurotoxin to you? Just to start, does it sound like this person is getting neurologically toxic from glutamate? Let's keep going. It's only been a few days or so, so very early to tell, but the increase in productivity and motivation is tremendous. I'm finding personally taking it at night, I get amped up and wired up a bit too much. Nothing insane, though. I like to think I'll be able to go to bed at my normal time. But I think I'll do better taking it earlier in the day in the long run. Okay. Folks, different things. Like, okay, some people use magnesium, like our magnesium lotion, and it helps them relax. Some people use the magnesium lotion and they feel it gives them energy. Potassium can do the same thing. Potassium can make you feel more energetic. potassium could kind of calm down anxiety and stuff like that. MSG, if you feel like it's not helping you sleep, don't have it at night. Okay? Or have less at night. Or don't take, if you're taking a big dose of it, don't take that at night. Take it more in the morning and at lunch. Zinc is the same way, folks. Some people feel like zinc kind of gives them energy, and some people feel like zinc helps them calm down and go to sleep. So this is not anything the excitotoxinal people will be like, oh my gosh, you see? It's excitotoxin and it's making their too stimulated. All sorts of things can do this effect. The same nutrient can cause some people to feel stimulated and some people to feel calmed down. You adjust this to how it makes you feel. As you get less toxic, these noticeable effects will be less because your system is cleaner and you have better nutrition. And so doing these things that you do on a daily basis aren't going to push you so far. Okay? So let's keep going. But the speed and clarity of my thinking is very obvious. Still too early to tell, but so far so good. I'm dealing with chronic Lyme disease for over 2 years, and severe chronic fatigue and brain fog have been my main issues, aside from the PSSD caused by Rexulti. So this seems to be helping. Great. Can't wait to see how this pans out on a longer timeline. And then we have, this person added an edit. Also, some urge to work out is coming back for the first time in over 2 years. And some emotions. I've had some amount of emotional blunting in the last 6 years since being damaged by Rexulti, which I stopped taking in 2019, but problems have persisted. My emotional blunting is not severe, but it's definitely there. Taking MSG the past several days, I've noticed some emotions and imagination coming back online. I'm able to feel something inside myself that I haven't felt for a long time. Makes me wonder if MSG is like a spark capable of starting a fire or kindling a flame that was almost dead back to life. Okay, so we go over... Joe, I'm going to close this now. I go over testimonials of a similar nature where people are saying like parts of their brain and their feelings and even their personality are waking up again. Kelsey got those testimonials because she was working with people before we started putting out in the program. So these testimonials are legit, folks. Your brain is not running right if it doesn't have enough glutamate. And if you're craving things that you know you kind of shouldn't eat, but you just can't get over the craving, that's what the MSG is. That's your body asking for glutamate. Okay? So, very cool testimonials. And we can all thank Kelsey for doing her research to help herself. Again, a lot of the discoveries I made were because I was always trying to fix my own health. Kelsey was making discoveries to help with her copper toxicity. And then she shared them with everybody. And we're seeing this stuff come out. And we're seeing PSSD, so a drug-induced syndrome after somebody stops taking a drug, get better. So for those of you out there with like, you took post-Accutane, syndrome or post-SSRI syndrome or post, all these things, I really think the glutamate is going to help you. So yeah. So let me get, I got my chat out of the way. So let me go and start getting to the super chats first, and then we will get to the other stuff. So CEW says, thank you for the super chat, CEW. Bryan Johnson claims his flagship product longevity mix is backed by science. Can you quickly scan the 13 ingredients and debunk any of them? Thanks. Okay. This is kind of a long thing. Let me go look it up, and I'll share the screen again. The thing I'm going to guess, well, first of all, Bryan has done multiple experiments on himself that didn't work out. Like, what was it? What was the drug he was taking that he had bad reaction to? And he kept taking it. It was like 2 years. He kept trying the different dosing and the different pulsing and all that stuff, and it didn't work. Okay. Let's see. Wow, this is really... Okay, let me show. I'm just going to show you the summary. Let me get back in here. Some of this stuff I hadn't even really heard of as like supplements, stuff that I don't deal with. Okay, so here we are. Wait. Did somebody, if somebody else wants to go look, wasn't there a study on Bryan Johnson's people where they were actually like falling apart? Can somebody find that link? Let's see. Let me see. If somebody has the, there it is. Wait. Anyway, we'll get to it. So what do we have here? It contains, so a plant-based sugar-free drink. So that screams elite. The elite wants you eating plant-based. So it's very, very telling that Bryan Johnson is a vegan, because they're trying to promote a narrative. What do we have? Creatine monohydrate. Okay. Let's hit on creatine. People love creatine. Obviously, most of you have seen the recent like gaga mega dosing fad of creatine, where people are talking about taking 25 to 30 grams a day. If you didn't know, creatine turns into at least 2 aldehydes in your system. It breaks down into 2 aldehydes. I think one of them was one of them methylamine or ethylamine. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but it was 2 aldehydes. And what they found was the more people took at one time of creatine, the more of these aldehydes were made. If people spaced it out, like if they did like 2 grams at a time, like a bunch of times a day, they hardly made any of these aldehydes. Are most people going to space out their creatine into 2-gram doses all day long? Probably not. So in a way, and I do think, okay, so I'm not anti-creatine in terms of like, I'm not anti-beef, I'm not anti-creatine. I do think taking supremely isolated, massive dosing of creatine, and everybody in the popular podcast and fitness influencer and all that stuff is pushing it at the same time, and Bryan Johnson's pushing it at the same time, that's a huge red flag for me. Do I think that they're out to help your health? No, I don't. I don't believe it at all. So, creatine monohydrate. If somebody wants to take creatine monohydrate, do not buy Chinese stuff. Get like the German stuff, Creapure, I think it is. If you're going to do it, am I recommending it? No. Do I take it? No. If you're going to do it, get German stuff, the Creapure, clean stuff, and I would personally, I would limit it to 2 grams a day. If you wanted to take it like a drug effect and you're like, you have some terrible night of sleep and you decide you need help that day and you want to do like some big mega dose, like one day, just because you had a terrible night of sleep and you want to do that, fine, it's one day. But people out there taking mega doses, I mean, when creatine was first coming out, right, the loading dose was like 20 to 25 grams a day, and you only did that for what, a week, maybe 2 weeks, and that was just to saturate the system with creatine. So they used to say that the system was saturated after a week or two of 20, 25, 30 grams a day, and then you could go down to a maintenance dose, because adding more on top of that didn't really make your levels go up. So all of a sudden it's mega dosing, and nobody's really saying, oh, only do this one day at a time or only do this 1 week at a time. They're pretty much telling people just to get on it. They don't tell you to not do it a long term, so they're really kind of suggesting that you do it long term. Sketchy as heck. I don't trust it. Glycine. Oh my gosh. You go into the fitness influencer world, and you see glycine pushed as like it fixes everything. Okay. My estimate is that 25% of people feel better on glycine. 25% of people feel worse on glycine. 50% of people don't notice anything. That's my estimates on it. The people who feel good on glycine, they really feel good on it. Like it's like an antidepressant. It's like helps them sleep. It helps them calm down. It makes them feel better. Me, I take glycine. I don't sleep. I don't like glycine. I tried again. I was fooling around the other day and I thought, oh, I'll just throw some collagen full of glycine into my detox sludge because I wanted to use it up. I wanted to get it off my counter. I started wondering, why am I sleeping so badly? And why am I getting loose bowels after I do my drink? What did I change? Oh, I put collagen in there, which is full of glycine. Glycine changes your bile acid recipe for better or worse. Glycine conjugates to bile acids, which can either turn some bile acids into less damaging bile acids or it can turn into more damaging bile acids. So somebody's bile acid recipe, it's funny, somebody on Twitter who I realize is not, they're like a health and fitness influencer who I hear them, what they talk about, and I go, this person is not well. They love glycine. They love it. They're like, everybody should be taking glycine. And I go, okay, just because somebody feels better on something doesn't mean everybody should be taking it. That's the biggest mistake in all of health, is where people go, well, this worked for me, so I'm going to recommend it to everybody. No, it's like everybody can try it and see if it helps. So glycine may help. If glycine helps you, and these people are usually talking about like 8 grams a day, 8 to 10 grams of glycine, not collagen. 8 to 10 grams of glycine. So you can do straight glycine powder, or you can do, hold on, I'm pulling up my chat window, or you can do it as like collagen or gelatin. If you don't feel good on collagen or gelatin or glycine, don't take it. That's easy. Don't take it. If you feel good on glycine or collagen or gelatin, yeah, you can do it. I have real suspicions that collagen and gelatin are way higher in copper than they tell us. So if anybody wants to post the nutrition facts for collagen and gelatin and say there's no copper in it, I'm going to say, I don't think they're analyzing it the way they need to. I think people will say, oh, you need copper. Copper is part of collagen and you need it to make collagen. And I go, well, where did it disappear to then? If it's in there. So anyway, if you feel better on glycine or glycine sources, know that that's fine. You can take it. And that effect of it, if you're doing things right, like the Love Your Liver program, over time, you'll be getting better. And then at some point, the glycine, as I say, may turn on you. And all of a sudden, the glycine then, let's say glycine used to help you sleep. All of a sudden, the glycine will make it so you don't sleep. Then it's time to get rid of the glycine. Then you don't have to take it anymore. We get rid of another supplement. Hey, wonderful. L-theanine. I went over L-theanine in the episode where I go over things that bind to copper, where I went over metformin and inositol and theanine. Theanine binds to copper. It doesn't detox copper. It binds to copper and makes the copper less toxic while it's in you. That's it. That's why you got to take it every day to get the same effects. Why does it help you calm down from caffeine? Because caffeine stirs up copper and depletes potassium. So if you bind to the copper, the copper doesn't do as much damage. You don't deplete as much of your potassium. You feel more calm and less jittery from caffeine. L-theanine is useful. Reduced glutathione. I have never come across a supplement that is as disappointing in the real world as reduced glutathione for the cost of it. How many of you out there took reduced glutathione and noticed nothing? It's a bunch of people. Spend tons of money, $60, $70, $80, $100, $120 on a bottle, on a jar of reduced glutathione. And this was when I was in school. So this is like 20 years ago. And it does nothing. Oh, you have to take the reduced glutathione so it gets past your stomach acid. Still does nothing. People talk about glutathione IVs, and it's like, okay, folks, your liver makes glutathione. Wait, glutathione. Wait, what does glutamate use to help make glutathione? I believe I went over this in the MSG episode. Bile, as it goes through, your body will break down the glutathione in the bile and recycle the glutamate. Must be pretty important to recycle that glutamate. We are after getting your liver to control your antioxidant levels and your redox levels, so your reduction oxidation. We want your body to be more in charge of this. We're not trying to put in a bunch. Yes, we use oxidizers because most people need them at some point, potentially, but you're supposed to stop them at some point. We are trying to get the body in control of the reduction and oxidation, not put in a bunch of antioxidants. I mean, it's very obvious Bryan Johnson is still stuck in the antioxidant theory. Right? We got glutathione, vitamin C. There's no oxidizers in here. Vitamin C, ascorbic acid. I'm sure that's what he's using. Maybe sodium ascorbate. We go over that here. Vitamin C is one of the strongest things in the literature to slow down your bile production. That's what it does. It slows down your alcohol dehydrogenase. It slows down your ALDH. Megadoses slow down your bile production. So can it look good in the short term? Bryan Johnson loves short-term studies. And then when people do his stuff long-term, they fall apart. Did somebody find that link? Oh, yeah. Cottony Circle was saying he took low-dose Accutane too for his protocol. So this is how smart Bryan Johnson is. He's microdosing Accutane on a daily basis, and he's taking Cialis on a daily basis. And then he brags to everybody on Twitter about his erection quality and how he's monitoring his son's erection quality, and it's just the weirdest, sickest thing I've ever heard. But he doesn't tell everybody when he's talking about how good his erection quality is. He's not telling everybody he's taking Cialis every day. This is a dishonest person. That's all I have to say about that. But yeah, the microdosed Accutane, we know how that's going to go. And then what's he going to blame it on when the stuff hits the fan? Magnesium as citrate. Topical magnesium is a lot better. I mean, we obviously love magnesium. Magnesium citrate is good at helping you poop. Taurine, okay, another bile conjugator. Taurine can be, again, I'm going to tell you, it's the same thing. Taurine makes some people feel terrible. Taurine helps some people feel amazing. Most people feel nothing from it. So it's going to be the same thing I said with glycine. You feel better on it? Great. At some point, it's probably going to turn on you and you're going to want to stop taking it. If you feel worse on it, don't take it. If you feel nothing on it, don't waste your money. It's not doing anything for you. Calcium. Oh gosh, we have the whole calcium episode. I am not a fan of calcium supplementation at all. Lysine. I'm still trying to figure out what lysine does to herpes. So there's a common thing with herpes, which is not a virus, right? It's just toxicity, where a low arginine, high lysine diet and supplementing lysine helps it to go away. I haven't figured out what the lysine's doing, and I haven't seen anybody explain it anywhere. So they'll just say it suppresses the virus. And I'm like, well, okay, so virus theory is trash. So what's it actually doing? And nobody has any explanations past the idea of a dormant virus. Like, you have viruses that are just chilling out in your nerves, and they just come out when do they come out? Why do they come out? Are they intelligent? Did they see that your defenses were down and they're going to attack you? It's a bunch of BS. So, okay, sodium hyaluronate. This is hyaluronic acid. Don't worry about the sodium. It's just hyaluronic acid. I'm not sure on hyaluronic acid. We do have some in the magnesium lotion. I'm just not sure. Do I think it helps with skin stuff, especially topically? Yes. That's about it. It helps topically. I know that. Calcium alpha ketoglutarate. It's just more calcium supplementation. You can get alpha ketoglutarate a bunch of ways. Wait, there's that gluta. Huh. Well, that's weird. Where'd the gluta come from? I think you know by now. And glucosamine sulfate potassium chloride. We're not going to be adding any sulfur to the system on purpose, any extra sulfur supplements. Notice that it's chondroitin sulfate, glucosamine sulfate. And if you didn't know about glucosamine sulfate and chondroitin sulfate, a lot of people talk about how long-term, once you use them for a while and you try to stop them, you actually kind of can often become addicted to them. Like your pain comes back worse than before because now your system is somehow addicted to them. Well, I tend to find that the body only gets addicted to things that are toxic, and yet we have a sulfate here. Wait, I want to read the magical words here. This mix is designed with evidence precision dosing, meaning each ingredient is included at levels supported by scientific research. Okie doke. Okie doke. Did anybody find that link to his people? Anyway, there was some study done with his approaches on real people, and the results sucked. It was absolutely horrible. So we have supported by scientific research that his approach is terrible. His diet and his supplements are bad. Okay. So let's get on. Let's move on. Joe, no more super chats? Okay, so let's get to let me go back up to the top of the chats. Oh, wait, is there one? I saw one. No, there it is. There it is. LeBrad Pass, thank you for the super chat. Hi, Doc. Always appreciate your life advice. Any insight or advice on helping to manage the stress of moving in processes of buying and selling a house? Oof. I don't envy you. I'll say that. Wow. I never thought I'd become like a I don't know what even to life advice. I'm a life coach now. No, I'm kidding. Okay, well, let me give you the thing that first popped to mind. Sometimes things are just going to suck for a while. And sometimes it can be a relief to just admit that moving sucks. I forget there was a questionnaire somewhere where it was going over like life events and the amount of stress that it caused. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Is this it? Okay. Yeah, here we are. So let me... Okay, Joe, if you want to show this one. Okay. You got it up? Did I? Oh, no, I just share it. No, I got it. Okay, great. Okay. The Holmes and Rahe or Ra stress scale. I remember seeing this a long time ago. Where was moving? Is it in here? They have to have moving in here. What are they calling it? Change in residence. So I swear that what I saw before, so this is the change in residence. 32nd on the list of how many things? What do we have? 43 things. I swear moving used to be way higher on this list. I swear when I first learned about this, I think it was in medical school, that it was, oh yeah, here. Well, we'll come back to that. Joe, thank you for that link. We'll come back to that. But anyway, sometimes these things, I mean, wow, this is weird. Reconciliation with the spouse is like 45 out of 100. Death of spouse is 100, but reconciling them with them is more stress. Well, that's interesting. So sometimes you just have to go, well, if you're doing things that are on this list, wow, even an outstanding personal achievement is stressful. It's more stressful than moving, apparently. Sometimes you just have to go, this is going to suck. The biggest thing that I was realizing lately about depression, and think of depression as, just like the concept of where like things aren't going your way and it's kind of upsetting and you're quote unquote bummed out about things. Now, I will say that personally, those of you who have seen my Substacks recently, I got bummed out that Grant wrote those things. So if you haven't seen my Substacks, I have a 6-part article, drgarrettsmith.substack.com, or there's the link that Joe just put up. I did a 6-part article because Grant's article upset and irritated me enough, basically accusing me of being dishonest and misleading and all sorts of things that I'm not. And I defended myself, I think, very well in those articles. But I was bummed out from it. Like, I was like, how could he do this? Doesn't really matter. As they say in the let them theory, just let him do what he's going to do and let me do what I'm going to do. So that was disappointing. I don't know that I've ever been as disappointed in a peer who I thought was a friend as I was in Grant after what he wrote. One thing I noticed was that, and I'm just saying this as a general mood thing, when things aren't going your way or for whatever reason you get bummed out, okay? There are things that you know. Oh, Joe, do here, I'm sending you the link. Use that link from now on. It's drgarrettsmith@substack.com. So anyway, there are things that we know to do. I don't know why my focus got all weird. Anyway, let me see. There it goes. There are things that we know that make us feel better, that put us in a better mood. Like for me, going on either my run and walks or my weighted vest walks around my neighborhood. It's about a half hour, 30 to 40 minutes, depending upon if I'm running or if I'm not, or if I'm doing a lot of backwards walking, which is slower. I know I feel better. I can go and I can be in a not great mood. I go and I do that and I feel better. And I was, having stuff going on. I wasn't as happy as I normally am. And then I stopped walking and it like compounds it, right? So like I already have the stuff I'm dealing with mood wise. And then I'm not doing the things that help me relax and calm down and put everything in perspective. So when you are in a rough spot, and I wanted to use that time to devote to writing those articles. And if you guys see those articles, I mean, there's not much I put more research into than those articles. So yeah, so I needed the time to write, and I just kind of went, okay, I'm going to finish these articles, and then I'm going to get back to doing the things that I know help me feel better. So sometimes you got to sacrifice things. And then you could say, like, it looks like it's going to end at this point, right? You could say it looks like when I finish these articles, I wrote out a huge article and I had to break it into 6 pieces and then, tweak each one. And I want to thank William, my copywriter, and Beth Martins for helping me to edit and refine those articles a bit before I put them out. So I want to thank both of you for helping me with that. That was great. So anyway, I knew it was going to be over. So I gave myself grace. That's an important thing, is giving yourself grace, because real life hits you and real life sucks sometimes. And it's everything. What's the saying where everything passes? Like everything comes to an end, for better or worse. I remind myself that, like, You have to have the good days. You have to have the bad days so you can have the good days. When things are going well, generally your good days are getting better and your bad days are not getting as bad. It's kind of like improving in a sport. As you get better at the sport, your good days are even better, and your bad days, sometimes other people watching you can't even tell you had a bad day because you're that good. So sometimes you just got to say, it's going to suck right now. It looks like it's going to have an end at this point. Maybe you make some sacrifices during that point, and you realize that you're not going to feel as good during that, and you just kind of go, it's okay. I don't have to feel amazing all the time. Like, I mean, the idea, like, I mean, this is the problem with like Instagram culture, right? Everybody on Instagram only puts out their best moments, or they put out their total breakdowns and crash outs, which is an interesting thing too. They just need attention that bad. But anyway, most of them put out good stuff. And so we think that everybody else is having such a wonderful life all the time and not having problems, when behind the scenes, like most of these health influencers are probably wrecks, absolute wrecks in private. So what are you going to do? So if you're moving, if you see the end, you know, do what you can to take care of yourself. I mean, the thing you can always control, I mean, okay, so stress will tend to make people eat worse, right? Well, do your best during that time to eat as good as you can. Realize you're probably not going to be perfect, because if you're moving, you gotta get a meal when you're out, so you have enough strength to keep moving, and maybe it's not the great choices. Think of how crappy people eat on a daily basis and they still get everything done. So maybe you go, I'm going to eat. Oh yeah, that's Joe was saying, this too shall pass. That's the saying. This too shall pass. I was a couple of weeks ago looking at my to-do list, especially with the articles that I was trying to write, and my to-do list was gigantic. And I was looking at it going, what am I doing that my to-do list got so big? And it kind of bummed me out too. It was like part of the whole, it's like when you're down, like it's getting kicked when you're down. It's like all this stuff hit at once. And when those things happen, I guess this is like the advice. I kind of just go, okay, sometimes the stuff hits the fan all at once. You just press on. The biggest thing I was going to tell somebody in my life about is that, and I know this from Noah Revoy. If you don't know who Noah Revoy is, Revoy, he's on Twitter. He helps guys. If you want help in your life in general, I highly suggest Noah Revoy. He's great. He's helped me a bunch of times. But one of the biggest pieces of advice he gave me is when you're depressed, let's just say. He's like, if you sit there and you do nothing, you will feel worse. Like you're anxious anyway. You're anxious and you're depressed and whatever anyway. And this is the other part that people have to get over. That's a natural feeling. That is normal to feel that way. Just because you have a perfect diet, let's say, it doesn't mean you're not ever going to get depressed, right? This is normal. This is life. So he said, get up and do something. He's like, make a list of the things that could help you move past this, and get up and do something towards it, and you will feel better. And then you will realize you feel better, and then you can do more. Like, because you go, oh, it's like building momentum. Think about this, if you just lay in bed scrolling and you do nothing about it, not only is nothing getting done, which means things are piling up and getting worse, but then you're going to feel worse about it. So figure out even one step that you could do. This is, any of you who have been in depression, right? You know that you kind of started getting out of it usually when you decided that sitting there feeling bad in depression was worse than the effort it took to get up and do something. So you can decide that early on. You can go, if I lay here, this is only going to get worse. Get up and do something towards getting you out of it. The other thing that, when I had a really bad depression thing in college. and I was not eating well. I was back in college, you know, like they say in South Park, there's a time and place for everything, children, and that's college. I was smoking a lot of dope in college. I was keeping the room dark a lot, kind of that black light, dark room, video games, black shirts of like heavy metal bands. Like Danzig was a big favorite back then. I mean, it was pretty depressing. And then finally one day I said, okay, I want to get out of this. One of the actions I took was I got one of my biggest first herbal medicine experiments was I was in Colorado. I got a mixture of kava kava and St. John's wort. Kava kava tends to help with anxiety. St. John's wort tends to help with mood, right? Started taking it. But I also at the same time, so that's an action. That's a simple action of saying, I don't want to be depressed anymore. I'm going to buy this and take it. So that is an action, right? People are trying to do an action when they take antidepressants. They don't always end well, but at least they're taking an action. It's minimal. But I also said, okay, I'm going to start eating better. I'm going to turn on the lights in my apartment. I'm going to stop playing so many video games. I'm going to get outside, get some sun, and exercise. I'm going to stop wearing black heavy metal band shirts all the time. I thought about it. I looked at myself from third person. And I said, why wouldn't anybody who's doing all these things that I'm doing be depressed? Like I look like a depressed person with what I do and the way I present myself. How about if I just don't do that anymore? Yeah, I had to buy new shirts. And yes, I'm wearing black shirts now, but they're not like, you know, heavy metal band shirts. So yeah, I would just say, well, I said a lot of stuff. I can't recap it all here, but this too shall pass. Pray for solutions. That's a very important thing. And it can just be like, I want to seriously, when I say praying for solutions, it's as simple as in your head, or you can say it out loud. I'm praying for a solution about X. And then if you believe the people on the internet who say, if you think a thought for 20 or more seconds or whatever, then it starts manifesting, then just pray for that solution for more than 20 seconds. Repeat it a couple times. Repeat it again, repeat it again, repeat it again. And then what you're trying to do is you're trying to set your mind so that you're praying for solutions to come, but you're also setting your mind up to see solutions. You're expecting solutions to arrive. So when some things pop up, at least even unconsciously, subconsciously, you are believing that a solution is coming. Like you're asking for it, and therefore you're more receptive to it. And you being the solution is what makes you feel happier, and you have agency, and you have become the creator of your solution. And it fits along with God helps those who help themselves. God wants you to help yourself. You praying for a solution doesn't mean you're praying for a handout or for it to all be given to you on a silver platter and you have to do nothing. You praying for a solution means you are part of it. You are doing it. You're asking for the door to be opened so that you can then walk through it. Which is our program, right? Some people come into the program and they're like, well, why don't you just tell me what to take? And I'm like, that's not how you get there. That's not how we do this at all. That's not how anybody gets better. People take actions to get better, and they look at what makes them feel better and what makes them not feel better. And we have to look past the short term towards the long term, which is what I think like Bryan Johnson's program looks very short term and it doesn't look long term, and they don't understand the duration paradox. But yeah, Joe found a link. Oh yeah, let me just read what Joe put up here. So Joe posted, sent me a message. He said, "This too shall pass," often linked to Persian poets. It means joy and pain don't last forever. You endure the tough days to reach the brighter ones. Another good one from Maya Angelou: you may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. This too shall pass. That's a really, really important saying. I am not looking forward to moving. I just helped my brother move out of his apartment. And I'm doing stuff like I'm trying to help him to get rid of some stuff. And I'm telling him what I do. When I'm like going through my stuff, I look at it and first of all, I think if I haven't even thought of this item in a year, I don't need it. And then also if I look at an item, there's another thing of if I don't think I need to keep this, like if I look at it and right away I'm not like, oh yeah, I got to keep that. If I'm kind of like, I don't know if I need to keep it, it's probably needs to go. Like we keep so much crap these days. And I think a lot of that is kind of energetically draining. So, but I was sitting there going, just get rid of it, bro. Just toss it out. Like he would look at it and he'd go, keep it. And I'm like, toss it. But it's his stuff. So yeah. So anyway, I hope that helps. Just moving sucks. Moving absolutely sucks. On that list of things that could mess up, or stressful events in your life. It's absolutely, in my opinion, up towards the top. Like moving is, honestly, I see like they say like death of a loved one in there. And I go, honestly, maybe I'm wired different, but for most of the time, I think moving is actually more stressful on me, just the way I take it, because I like things to be stable. And like if suddenly someone's gone that I had no control over, that Kelsey would be different, but a lot of other, generally friends and other things, if they were suddenly gone, I just go, okay, I deal with it. That's my perspective. Maybe, my brain is not wired typically anyway, but if all of a sudden somebody's like, oh, you have to pack up all your stuff and move and all your routines are gone and now your place is new and you got to figure out where all the things are in your house now. And my life is completely an upheaval that I'm kind of causing in a way, as opposed to something I had no control over. That's just somebody's gone. Well, then I just deal that. I don't know. I just deal with that as it comes. And then the moving thing is just like, that's why I used to remember, I swear the moving thing used to be on par with like somebody in your family dying. I swear it used to be way higher on that list. And that's where I was expecting it to be. And then I saw it like way down on the list and I went, I don't know. It just doesn't, it's not the way I remember it. So anyway, okay. So let's get into, did we have another super? Sorry. I want to show you this link. Here, Joe, I'll share the tab. Thank you for getting this, whoever sent this link. I don't know if Joe found it or if somebody else sent it. Here it is. Test subjects for Bryan Johnson's anti-aging program said it made them feel sick. Report. The study involved some 1,700 people. Dude needs to get like a stylist. Shirt's like 2 sizes too big for him. Anyway, a new report from the New York Times claims that the so-called longevity mix sold by Bryan Johnson, the anti-aging tech guru, has caused some users to report unwanted side effects. Well, Grant would call them goddamn supplements, right? After that, Johnson, who runs Blueprint, a dietary supplement company, has been pushing its mixes as a way to stay healthy and live longer. According to the new report, however, many users reported that the supplements made them feel like they were going to hurl. There was more stuff to it. I'm not going to go through it all, but yeah, Joe, if you want to post this link so people can look at it. So not only do we have, like, let's say how I perceive the supplements used in that mix as being not all they're cracked up to be, we have an actual study of people saying that they didn't feel good on it. That's not a good sign. And as we talk about here, if any of you are out there and you try a supplement of mine, let's say, and maybe you don't read the instructions and you take more than you should because you think, if you're going to be dumb, you better be tough. And you're just like, I'll just be tough. And you do it and you feel bad. That's why we start slow. And let's say you don't feel good on any dose of a certain supplement. Then don't take it. That's the way we roll here. Like, people often, as they get less toxic, tolerate some of the supplements better because so think about it. As you're more toxic, if you stimulate detox too much, you stir up stuff and you feel bad. As you become less toxic and you still needed those nutrients, as you become less toxic, you can take the nutrients and there's not as much toxicity to stir up. So you're able to take them and get the benefit of the nutrient without feeling terrible. So that's how it generally works. If you have a lot of trouble with a lot of the supplements that we tend to use, this is not a judgment. I'm saying you're probably still really toxic. And again, like I said, no judgment. That's just where you are. I know people will put pressure on themselves to take more. As an example, Kelsey's always put pressure on herself because she comes up copper toxic and zinc deficient, and she puts pressure on herself to take more zinc. And I'm kind of like, it'll happen. Just let it happen. You don't have to push it. Some people do. Other people just listen and they just go, I'll just wait. And that's fine too. So just know, like, if you push things hard, if you're going to be dumb, you better be tough and you better be ready to potentially suffer if you push too hard. So, and I don't recommend that. You can do it. I don't recommend it. Just don't blame the program or blame the supplements if you don't follow the instructions. If it's user error, admit it's user error. Take accountability, take responsibility. Say, yeah, I just jumped in at the full dose and yeah, kind of kicked my ass. Okay, take responsibility. Don't go around the internet saying, oh, I took zinc and I felt bad. Zinc is bad. Don't do that. Okay, let me get back to the chat. Okay, so I hope that helps, LeBrad. Oh yeah, well, we may get to the hoarding thing. Let's see. Okay, Victor is asking, do you take vitamin K2 every day, or is it more like 1 to 2 times a week? It can be either. Okay, so first of all, on our treatment plans for the people who are working with our health facilitators, vitamin K2 is listed as optional on there. Like it's at the top of the list. That doesn't mean it's the most important. It's just saying optional. We have questions in their questionnaire that we go through that would indicate, are you vitamin K2 deficient? Do you tend to get bruises where you don't know where they came from? Do your teeth or your gums bleed easily? Does it seem like if you get a cut or a nosebleed, it takes a long time for it to stop bleeding? What's the other ones? Sensitive teeth. Do you have high calcium on a hair test? Like, do you have a history of osteopenia or osteoporosis? And then after all those questions, sometimes we ask people, do you have insomnia? Because if they have a vitamin K2 deficiency and those other symptoms are saying it. So this is not, do I recommend vitamin K2 to treat insomnia? No, you can try it. But if people have a lot of vitamin K2 deficiencies and they have insomnia and they take K2, it might help their insomnia. So it's just a might. It might. So do people have to take it every day? If they notice that, like, let's say it's helping somebody sleep and they skip a day and they go, oh, I didn't sleep well last night, I didn't take my vitamin K2, then they would need to take it daily. If somebody's just trying to do it as like hedging their bets, like just to make sure they have enough K2 coming in, they could take it once or twice a week just to kind of get it going through the system. It is technically a fat soluble vitamin, or it's a phyloquinone. So remember, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E are all alcohols. Vitamin K is not in that chemical category. Vitamin K is something different. I believe it was a phyloquinone. So it's a totally different chemical compound class, which is why I'm not big on A, D, and E, and vitamin K2 is something we actually use. This is like flush niacin, nicotinic acid. It's way more like an amino acid in structure and doses needed than any of the other B vitamins. The other B vitamins are in like micrograms, and the structure is very different. Nicotinic acid is more like an amino acid. And so are there exceptions to these things? Yes. This is why, I'm talking to somebody on Twitter right now who says the term vitamins don't exist. And I'm like, show me. So I don't like that saying because it's not specific enough. Do these chemical compounds exist? Yes. Do these chemical compounds exist? Like, go and look up the structure of glucose versus the structure of ascorbic acid. They're almost the same. Go look up the structure of amino acids and nicotinic acid, and they're almost the same. So if people want to claim that glucose exists, then ascorbic acid exists. Now, if people want to claim that vitamin science is trash, as a general rule, I agree with that. But if people want to say things don't exist, that's tough. Like if people want to say viruses don't exist. Now, listen to me carefully here. Again, this is the same thing. Virus theory is trash. Viruses as a cause of disease is absolute nonsense and trash. Okay. People are out there seeing things and analyzing things, and they're saying, like, do we actually think that every person in the virus industry is making stuff up? Like they're literally not seeing things that they say are there. They're seeing things that are there. Now, whether they created them as part of the process, now that is very likely. But they're seeing something that is there. So am I going to say that viruses don't exist? No, I'm not going to say that because that's not what I believe. Virus theory is trash. You see how we can have these things can exist. Whether they work the way we were told is the question. Telling people that vitamins don't exist is like, you're basically saying all of chemistry is trash. That's really what they're saying. They're like, I don't believe any of chemistry because I can't see the molecule under a microscope. I'm sorry, I don't even understand what that argument is. Like things get small, like they're chemical compounds. They're dissolved in liquids. Like you just don't see them. Nobody said chemistry was something you could see under a microscope. That's not chemistry. So if people want to come on here and say vitamins don't exist, no, they exist. They are compounds that exist. Whether they do what we're told, whether they're good for us or not, is the real debate. And that's what I talk about. So, like if somebody wants to say exosomes and all this stuff, and I go, I also look at it and I go, I'm helping people with these problems, and I'm not digging into all this. I'm digging into what's a toxin, what's a nutrient. Let's fix those things. And then the body, I don't try to say I understand everything, how everything works in the body mechanistically. And people don't realize that I actually got to this point of being able to help people by not caring too deeply into the mechanisms. I don't care too deeply about the rabbit holes. Like I go down the rabbit hole, I figure out what I need to figure out. What do I need to know? How can I help people with this? And that's all. That's pretty much as deep as I go. Everybody else is like, what's the mechanism? And I go, how does vitamin A hurt the body? And I go, chemical peels literally dissolve your face. But what's the mechanism? I go, I don't know. I don't care. That's all I need to know. Like people will literally throw acid in other people's faces and it will dissolve their face. Okay. Do I have to know how gravity works to know I don't want to jump off a cliff? Do I have to know how electricity works for me to be able to flip a switch on and off, to make the lights turn on and off? We don't have to know how everything works. We need to see it in real life. That's what we need to see. Which is why I want long-term, not short-term. Long-term is the real mechanism. Short-term is honeymoon phase for a lot of it. So anyway, okay. Alicia Adams asks, hello, still figuring things out, being fairly new here, but what is causing these debilitating night sweats? Always had them, but lately they've been turned up to 10. Okay. Well, it is October 7th, 2025. I think it was back in September, about September 23rd and 24th. There was tons of the Schumann resonance. Like, so I'm going to tell you guys, there's like apps on your phone for like $2, $1.99. You can get a Schumann resonance app. And here, I'll pull mine up. I'll see if I can get a good view of it on the screen. Schumann resonance is like what they call the Earth's heartbeat. It's supposed to be 7.83. Okay. Oh, come on. Okay. So back on the 23rd and 24th, there was massive spikes on the Schumann resonance. So like they say, 7.83 is the Earth's heartbeat. 7.83 hertz, cycles per second. Like a heartbeat, you know, like your heart beats 60 to 80 times a minute, right? That's your heartbeat. Well, the Schumann resonance is 7.83 hertz. Now, what's been happening a lot, so for those of you who follow like Space Weather Live and you look at the KP index and you're looking at coronal holes and geomagnetic storms and all that stuff, there's a weird thing that's going on with the Schumann where there's not necessarily geomagnetic storms or solar storms happening when the Schumann's going crazy, which may be, it is possible, in my opinion, that humans may be messing with this, with HARP and other stuff. Okay. But like, let me see if you can see this. So you see that. So the normal Schumann resonance is, is the, I'll try not to touch my screen. The normal Schumann resonance is that top green line. You see? The top green line is like where the normal, that if things were calm, that top green line is about all you'd see on there. You'd see very little other stuff. However, you see that bright white part? See that bright white part? And where it goes down to green and the red and the orange and all that stuff, that is a spike. Okay? When those things happen, you will feel worse, most likely. What I've been noticing for me with my Schumann resonance patterns, when the spike happens, like when it happens, Kelsey feels it immediately. It seems for me, it doesn't happen until the spike is over, and sometimes not for hours after that. And then all of a sudden, I start feeling this little cycle of I'll feel hot, I'll feel tired, and my stomach gets a little wonky. I call it wonky. And this is real minor, but I just go, this has been happening. Okay, so folks, if you, in the last month and a half, if you've been feeling worse than usual, even though you know things are going good, like usually things are moving in the right direction, but you have these episodes, the Schumann resonance has been going bonkers. And then last night, the 6th, was the full moon. So if you didn't know, the full moon, technically, from what I've read, it extends for 5 days. So there's the full moon on the third day, the third night, whatever you want to call it. And then there's 2 other full moon days around it, technically. So a full moon is technically 5 days. I tend to sleep the worst, not on the full moon day, but the day before that. Just a pattern. So when you start to notice these patterns, and I tend to sleep hot. So when we're talking about hot flashes, one of the things that bile dumping causes is often people feel warm or hot. It doesn't mean your body temperature goes up. It means you feel warm or hot. That, like I said, it doesn't mean your temperature is running hot. You feel hot. They're totally different. You cannot equate the two. So if you've been having like episodes of these things, I mean, first of all, with hot flashes or hot surges, I just said bile dumping can cause it. So, Alicia, I think that was your name, right? Alicia, if you're pushing detox too hard, you're dumping bile. You could be causing your own hot flashes. So that's the first thing we have to eliminate. When people are pushing too hard, we tend to look at, are you eating too much soluble fiber for you? And the first 2 things we would tend to reduce by half would be lactoferrin and flush niacin, because those can push bile dumping. And why do we do this? Well, because if you start going through, let's say, space weather, and the space weather is causing bile dumping, and then you're taking stuff that is making it happen like it's like synergistic, we got to calm down on it somewhere. We can't control the space weather. We can only control like soluble fiber, binders, things like flush niacin or lactoferrin. Those are the first suspects. It doesn't mean stop taking them necessarily. It means cut them in half. And if that doesn't do enough, cut them in half again. So go to 50% and then go to 75% less than what you were doing. Those are the first things. Otherwise, if people are doing things that are causing it, like, I mean, stress will cause bile dumping. So if people have had more stress lately, I kind of feel like the world is extremely stressful right now, and it may all be designed like, think of this. Let's say they had some control over the Schumann spikes, and they could do the spikes so people feel worse. And then they throw in a bunch of national and world events, political events, to make everybody who focuses on that stuff even more stressed. If they were trying to create chaos, it would be a very good approach, wouldn't it? Like, make people feel bad and then induce events that make their brain think that things are much worse. Right? You ever have something where you're grumpy and then somebody says something or does something that normally, if you were in a good mood, it's not a big deal, but all of a sudden, because you're in a worse mood, it's explosion time. I mean, ladies, you might have done this before, maybe premenstrually or something like that, or maybe somebody's hypoglycemic and they go off on their friend or loved one. And then after they eat, they go, oh man, I'm sorry. The hangries. Hangry is a perfect example of it. So when these things happen, it can seem a lot worse. So those are the things that I would work on, Alicia. First, just don't push detox too hard. Oh, Cass said she saw an ad for a copper tub this week. They got copper clothes, they got copper bracelets, they got copper pipes, they got copper cups. It's almost like they're trying to poison you. Lisa says, I'm kind of new on the low vitamin A diet and love your liver program. I'm not sure how hard on the diet you should go. I have stopped all supplements except your mineral supplement, magnesium, and iodine. That's a big question to go over here. I mean, you just heard me talking about it. It would basically be, well, especially the biggest thing that people need to, I mean, obviously eating protein, usually people are not coming to the program and going, I've never eaten protein before. I've never eaten meat, right? So eating meat, like I think of it as first simplify, right? Now I don't push all muscle meat carnivore, except in rare cases where people say that's the only thing I can eat. But generally think of it as, and if some of you who have already been doing this, you may want, if you want to back up a little bit and do some of this, think of it as start with muscle meats, red meat, poultry type stuff that you tolerate. Then start adding grains and or beans and or the low vitamin A fruit and or low vitamin A vegetables to that and see how you tolerate it. Don't jump in on like the cowboy diet, which is all like red meat and beans until you know that you tolerate beans. Like build up on the beans. Yes, you do have to eat stuff in the meantime, but usually people know which foods they tolerate well. And so stick with the things you tolerate well, start with meat and then build up from there. So then like, if you know that soluble fiber can trigger bile dumping, and also ladies tend to be more constipated than men. Ladies make less bile than men. So ladies, too much soluble fiber, we've talked about this before, but too much soluble fiber can be too much it could be too much for anybody, but for women, it can make you, if too much soluble fiber or fiber in general constipates you, you must hear me on this. I want you to poop. I want you pooping. I want you pooping at least once a day. Minimum. Optimal would be you poop once for every meal. Ladies, if you start eating more fiber and you're pooping less, you're going the wrong way. back off of the fiber if you poop better with less fiber. Okay? Don't eat more fiber to detox and then not detox by not pooping. You see how it's counterproductive? We need you pooping at least once a day. So if you're not pooping once a day, your first goal is to try to move towards that, whether that's by adjusting your fiber is one way. I mean, there's papers out there. So just so you know, some people poop better on more fiber and some people poop less. Your job is to figure out which one am I at this time, because it may change over time. Don't hear me say soluble fiber helps you detox and then think I got to eat more soluble fiber, but now I'm not pooping. This approach requires you to use this thing. So I'm not saying just you, Lisa, this is just like, you could eat. Some people have done low vitamin A with basically red meat and rice. Okay, very little fiber, little to no fiber. There's people who have done beef and beans, lots of soluble fiber. There's people who have done basically the all muscle meat carnivore diet and then added like some sort of fiber or binder, like they might have added psyllium fiber, organic for sure, apple pectin, or they might have added charcoal, or they might have added zeolite. So they're getting their fiber, they're getting their calories, they're getting some fat, and they are getting some binders in there to bind on to the poop, and they're taking it hopefully in a way that is facilitating them pooping, or at least not stopping them from pooping. And that's fine. Like, everybody has to figure out the diet, but the big thing that people make the mistake of is they push soluble fiber too hard. It's not that we're against it. And some people, do great on soluble fiber. Some people tell me giving them permission to eat beans was the greatest dietary thing anybody ever did for them in terms of them feeling better. Some people are like, I can't eat beans. Okay, then don't eat them. Or not yet. So this is really important. Okay. Joe posted this paper. Joe, if you want to post that link to the paper, here, let me see if I can find it. I want to find your quote in there. Okay. Individual determinants of satisfaction with the work environment after relocation to activity-based workplaces, a prospective study. So what did we say? It was a 2023 Joe, is that quote from... Oh, this was just so this was the summary that Joe posted. So this is not in the paper. Here we go. Okay, this makes sense. Respondents rated work environment satisfaction. So they moved 3 months and 9 months after relocation. So their job moved to a new place. The findings indicate that on average, satisfaction decreased after relocation, while for some workers it increased. And Joe's summary that he got here from it, it said, people with a strong attachment to routine showed elevated stress and lower satisfaction with their new setup. This is like me. This is why I'm saying, like, the moving would be more, because I kind of have control over it, but I don't want to get used to something new. Like, I like the way it was. Can I adapt to new things? Yes. Do I like it? No. Other people love change. Some people love that kind of change. And that's why I was like, I deal with the stresses of, like, let's say losing somebody different than the stresses of moving. So this is basically, Joe found research backing that. So thank you, Joe. Hound Jog, thank you for your super chat. Let me get my chat screen back up here. Where'd it go? There it is. She says, hi, does bile dumping cause your walking to be slow and difficult going up hills? Thank you. Back in the USA. I don't know that it would be specific to hills, Hound Jog. It would just be like I know when a lot of people, when they have a bile dump, and not in a good way, and it's going back into their blood, fatigue is a huge symptom. However, some people might feel tired. Like, as an example, a difference between Kelsey and I. Kelsey gets sleepy, and so obviously she's tired, but she gets sleepy, and I get tired, but I can't sleep. So you see the different, whether it's genders, bile recipe, whatever, you can have the same physiological mechanism happening. And this is where people who want it to be, they're like, what's the mechanism? And you go, what does a bile dump feel like? And you go, how many ways can we describe all the symptoms that people have reported? Like, it could basically be almost anything. And then they go, well, that doesn't make any sense. And we go, well, when you know what your pattern is, you know. And then you realize that you don't feel that way all the time. And then why would it suddenly come on? Because something happened, whether it's space weather, whether it's stress that happened to you, whether it's an exercise, a workout you did, or whether you went out in the sun too long, or whatever. When we know what can trigger it, then we can look for the patterns that happen to each person after it, because everybody's toxicity is different, and everybody has different toxicities and nutrient statuses, which changes the whole picture. So I don't know that it would be walking to be slow. I mean, if you're tired, your walking is going to be slow and difficult going up hills. I mean, that's really specific. It's really just a fatigue thing. And one thing, some of you may have noticed this in the last maybe 6 weeks. One of the symptoms that myself and my buddy and even my son mentioned is there's this weird. So if any of you have had this, you can say it in the comments. It's something new that multiple people experience, especially if you work out. It's a weird, tired and sore feeling at the same time. It's a very strange feeling in your muscles. So if you may have had this, if you've had this new, it's like a combination of a tiredness and a soreness in your muscles that doesn't necessarily make sense. Like, maybe you didn't work out or do anything that would have caused it, and all of a sudden you're like, why do my muscles feel this way? That's been happening to multiple people, especially those who are working out. And so they obviously would notice it more than somebody who doesn't. So that's been an interesting thing lately. But so yeah, the Schumann app, I highly suggest, there's full moon apps or moon phase apps that are free. The Schumann apps, there's one on the Apple's, just look for the one on the Apple store or the Droid store, Play Store, whatever, that has the most reviews. And it's probably going to cost you $2 one time. If you won't pay $2 for a Schumann Resonance app, you can go look it up online every time, or you could just click on your phone like I did. And then the Space Weather Live, where you can look at the KP index. The KP index has actually been dropping to low recently. KP index, when it's down at 0 or 1, means that the Earth's if you want to believe in this, the Earth's protective layer is actually it's not doing its job. So it's actually letting more stuff through. So it's either the Earth can be kind of under an assault from a geomagnetic storm, the defenses are still up, but the energy's coming, or for whatever reason, the shields kind of go down, and then that's the low KP index, and that's where there's more stuff coming through. I'm not going to get into the firmament and the shape of the Earth. None of that changes anything. We have these apps that tell us, where you can look at it and go, something's happening. Again, do I need to know the mechanism to be able to help myself with this information or help you with this information? No, I don't have to know all the mechanisms. I don't have to believe that the moon is a planet 93 million miles away or not, and it looks like a flashlight in the sky, and I can see details on it from 93 million miles away that I should not be able to see. Whatever. I'm not going to get into those arguments. That doesn't help me. I was actually explaining this to my boy last night. I said, none of the arguments about the shape of the Earth actually change my day-to-day life. Like, there's people out there who make social media personalities entirely out of arguing this with people all day long, every day. And I'm like, what a life that is, to just argue something like that if I never thought about the shape of whatever we're on again, would it make my life any worse? No, so I don't. So to remember, if you're putting energy into things that don't change anything. You're just wasting your energy. So, okay. So I hope that answers it, Hound Jog. Let's see. We're at 11:43. Stacy said, copper IUD ruined my health. And Chrissy said, me too. Well, and just so you know, like how pervasive this is. When I was in naturopathic medical school, I knew about hormonal IUDs and I knew about copper IUDs. And people would say, well, what should we do about birth control? You know, if birth control pills are so bad, which they're, the meds that people come to me that mess them up, other than Accutane, is antidepressants and birth control. Those are like the three most common meds that mess people up. I had one person, they got neuropathy from one pill of Accutane. And ladies, if you're like, well, I took birth control, but I only took it for a month because I felt so bad on it, it messed you up in that month. Like, don't think that, okay, it only takes, and this is kind of brutal, but it only takes one bullet wound to kill somebody, right? It's about what it does to the system. So if you took a week's worth of birth control and you were like, that made me feel worse than I've ever felt, it did something significant to your system. Maybe it all went away, maybe it didn't. Okay. So just don't think that just because, you know, oh, I only got hit with a 22 bullet and it's so small and it didn't do any damage. If it hits you in the right place, it can cause tons of damage. So that's why people's individual reactions to these things are very important. But yeah, I thought copper IUDs, I was like, copper's a mineral, right? Copper's good for us. We need copper. So why would a copper IUD not be the best choice? And now today you hear me and I'm like, that's probably the worst choice. Because the copper doesn't leave, right? The hormones your liver could theoretically process. Like if you got a hormonal IUD and it was removed, your body could process those hormones. Oops, looks like my screen is going there. That's weird. Anyway, your liver could process those hormones, but the copper is stuck everywhere in your system. And they'll try to tell you that you don't absorb the copper from the IUD. And I'm like, they still haven't figured out the whole vitamin A thing, that your liver will store vitamin A, your liver will store copper, your tissues will store copper. And they go, but the copper didn't go up in the blood, so there's no problem. And I'm like, y'all are the slowest. I'm talking about the researchers. They just don't, they either refuse to get it because they're defending pharma, or they just really can't imagine that if it's not in the blood, it must not be in the tissues. Like, there can be no cars on the road and still a billion cars can exist. They may not be on the road, but they're all in garages or they're off the road. Or you could have all the cars on the road and have massive traffic jams everywhere. So I don't understand how people don't get that. Okay. Stacy's added something here. When I was at my sickest, a bile dump would cause panic, sweating, sense of doom, and a chill to run down my spine. Wouldn't feel better until a bowel movement shortly after. Went away on the Love Your Liver program and comes back when she goes off of it. Well, thank you for that, Stacy. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, my bile dumps used to be, oh yeah, like I had some, back then I would get a feeling. I get a feeling of like, it was kind of in my gut, and I'd be like, oh no, I hope this isn't happening. And then I'd kind of go, I hope it's going to go away. It's often happened when I was driving, just because I was driving a lot in the middle of the day. And then I'd feel this like depressed mood come over me. And then I'd get nausea, like this specific nausea in my stomach. I'd start thinking I'd be kind of depressed. I'd be like, I'm not going to get everything. I have all these things I need to get done. I'm never going to get them all done. This was the same pattern every time. So if you guys have these feelings that suddenly come over you, and it's like a pattern, it's like a program almost, but you actually have other symptoms with it, that is your bile dump. And so I get these feelings that I was never going to get enough done. And then I would start getting, because I like working out and I know working out's good for me. But then I start thinking, I'm not going to be able to work out today. I'm going to fall so far behind on my working out. And then that kind of made me more depressed. And then I would start getting some little twitches. I don't have that anymore. I know the feeling now. And I go, oh yeah. And now once you start understanding the bile dump phenomenon and you can watch your patterns, then you can feel it coming on and you go, it's still going to feel bad. Like it's still, like as Stacy was saying, a panic, sweating, a sense of doom, like that's legit. That's what she experiences. When you can get to the point where you can third person and be like, okay, this is a bile dump happening. This is not me. It helps a bit. And you can kind of go, this too shall pass, because it's passed every time before. And then over time, you can start watching it and maybe you start going, oh, wait, when it happens, this symptom is a lot less, or this symptom isn't even happening anymore. And then you can kind of go, okay, I'm getting better. So you can actually watch your bile dumps to judge if you're getting better or not. Because yeah, those bile dumps that I used to get were not fun. My mom could see it in my face. My mom could see that my eyes would kind of close more, and I would just kind of be slouchy, and she'd be like, "You don't feel good, do you?" And I'm like, "No." Not one of the ways I got around it, I would just go sit in the bath, like a magnesium or potassium bath, for like hour and a half, 2 hours. I think the longest one I ever did was 2.5 hours. I just sat in there. I found that I could relieve. So sometimes you can only relieve the symptoms. I would lay in the bath. I would scroll on my phone, just distract myself with my phone. And then I felt fine while I was doing that. And I'd get through it. So that was my method. Not everybody can do that, but binders, I do more binders nowadays if that happened again. So, okay. Joe was saying it was me spinning my arm around in circles that caused the weird focus thing. I don't know. I thought I turned off all the AI stuff on this camera, but I guess I didn't. So let's see. Okay. Let's see. Lisa said, where do you buy MSG? Okay, so I have not tested this yet because I still have plenty of MSG. The easiest one to get is Aji or Ajinomoto. Ajinomoto. That you can find that at any Asian market in your area. I got mine at the Korean market, and it was cheaper for me to buy it locally than it was to buy it off Amazon. It was like $6 on Amazon for a pound of it. It was $4 at the $4 something at the Asian market. I have heard from someone that Modernist Pantry, you can find that on Amazon. Modernist Pantry, actually, he said it tasted better than the Ajinomoto. Like it was more potent than the Ajinomoto. On Amazon, it will say it's non-GMO, but people have contacted the company and they say, we didn't put that there, or it's not. It's made with a fermentation process. That's how it's made. So you can look up all the different on the Ajinomoto site. You can look up. Am I saying it's GMO? No, I'm just saying they're not saying it's non-GMO. That's all. Once you get down to really purified chemical compounds, there's not going to be much other stuff in it. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Lana said, been taking MSG for 2 weeks. It's killed cravings for sweets and dairy and basically eating out, but I've gained 2 pounds and I want to lose, so I'm going to scale back on it. I would say, Lana, I would consider just look at what you're eating. If you feel like it's the MSG specifically, yeah, you could always reduce to the amount that gives you. So again, almost with any supplement we use, minimal effective dose. So you want the smallest dose of something that gives you the most benefits. So if Lana, if you were saying you were getting all these benefits, but you think you might have gained 2 pounds, which can just be water, folks. And that could be space weather. That could be bile dumping. That could be all sorts of things. But if you wanted to, just cut it down and see if you can keep the benefits while fixing that little issue. MSG, I mean, it makes stuff taste good, so people may just eat more. That may be part of it. I mean, that's why they put it in junk foods. So we don't talk about MSG in junk foods being good for you, because junk foods aren't good for you. Them putting MSG in junk foods or things that they don't usually put MSG in foods because they don't want to put it on the label. So they use other things like hydrolyzed yeast extract that basically have glutamate in it, but they don't have to say MSG on the label. We would have all been better off if they just put MSG in the food instead of all these things that have all sorts of these other products in them from how they were made. They actually talk about that in the MSG research, that it may be all the other hydrolyzed proteins and all the other stuff in these things that bring glutamate that are what people are reacting to, or that the Chinese restaurant syndrome may have been the sulfites in the cooking wine that the Chinese restaurants use a bunch of. It's not MSG, it could be sulfites. So anyway, let's see. Okay, Bert says, hi, Dr. Smith. Can you explain if lactoferrin lowers iron/ferritin in the blood? Over time, yes. Some people at the start, they might see their ferritin go up a bit. Like some people at the start of the Love Your Liver programs, they feel better, but their liver enzymes go up a bit. Their liver's making glutamate. It's fixing things. So generally, I would say if you lactoferrin is helpful in bringing down ferritin long term. Make sure to watch my ferritin episode. If you saw some increase in your ferritin from lactoferrin at the start, you can always reduce your dose. You could take a break from it. You can always come back to it. Maybe you're just eating too much red meat. We've talked about that multiple times. Some people don't do well on red meat 3 times a day. Imagine that. So those are things to look into. But yeah, lactoferrin in some people raises their ferritin at the start. Do we know why it does that in some people and why it doesn't? No. Do we know why some people don't tolerate red meat a whole bunch and others do? No. These are things that we have to just watch the person. But I've been taking, I was taking 2 lactoferrin every day for a very long time, and my ferritin is right in the range of 30 to 70 that I want. So long term, it doesn't do that. Short term, it might. Short term, a lot of things labs can look worse short term while the body's fixing things. We always have to be looking at, are the symptoms improving overall? Are you feeling better long term over time? That's the key thing. Then if you start going, well, I joke about this because this happens so often. People are like, but my labs look worse. I'm like, do you feel better? They're like, yes. I'm like, why did you come to us? Did you come to us because you wanted perfect labs, or did you come to us because you wanted to feel better? And they go, well, I wanted to feel better. And I say, are you feeling better? And they go, yes. And I go, the labs are temporary. The labs tell us which direction to go. The symptoms tell us if we're going in the right direction. Does that make sense? So, hello, JJ Hempcrete Bear. JDS was saying Bryan Johnson eats a lot of copper too. Well, when you're on a vegan diet, you get an insane amount of copper. And do I necessarily believe all the labs he pushes out? He's a public figure. Do public figures lie? Yeah, they do. Especially ones who are invested as much in their longevity in their labs as he does. I have no reason to believe that anything he says is true. Just like almost anything on the internet, I have no reason to believe like how much AI trash is all over the social media now. It's like 90% AI trash. So if you believe anything you see on the internet these days, just automatically, you might want to get your discernment up and assume that everything is fake until you've decided enough that it's real. Okay. JDS was saying Bryan Johnson's always eating raw cacao. Yeah, cacao is There may be some benefits to cacao. I mean, less bad things to cacao than chocolate, but it's still full of copper. Chrissy said, I just broke out with shingles. What can I do to help it clear up? Look up low arginine, high lysine diet. Do things that fit with the Love Your Liver program in that. You may want to try supplementing some lysine, L-lysine. And then some people do better when they take some B12 during it. Engestol is a homeopathic remedy that would also tend to help. I used to be able to get homeopathic injectables of Engestol, and it would really help anything viral. So that was my basic. Wow, this thing is really. Why does this do this today? There it goes. Though that was basically what I would do for herpes and shingles and stuff like that back in the day. It worked. Am I saying it's fixing the root cause? No, the root cause is toxicities and deficiencies. For some people, when they flare up, this can help calm it down. So we can always treat symptoms, right? We want to be working on the root cause long term, but sometimes in the short term, we can work on symptoms. It's okay to do both. Nausicaa says, can you use a weighted vest every day? I mean, you could. I mean, you can do anything, right? We can do anything we want. We just have to put our minds to it. I don't use a weighted vest every day on my walks because sometimes I want to run up the hills. Like I've been bringing back, I'm going to tell you guys, how do I explain this in a good way? Many of you are too sick to worry about this. If you're very unwell and you're not even exercising, if you're not even exercising, you should be looking into like a vibration plate or like a rebounder where you're not bouncing off of it. You're just using the spring, to move your lymph up and down. You're not jumping. You can use a trampoline without jumping, right? You can just kind of bounce on. I mean, not bounce, but bob on it. So if you're really unwell, you need to move your body to get better. Like moving your body is part of getting better. It doesn't mean you need to go wreck yourself with dance classes or lifting in the gym or whatever. Like a vibration plate will move your body for you. It's a passive movement. Massage is basically passive exercise. It's not as good as real exercise, but it's passive exercise. So stuff where you're making your muscles kind of contract is good for you. Now, for those of you who are into exercise now, like you're actually going to the gym or going out to do whatever. Okay. I'll deal with the MoCo thing. Oh man. Yeah. For those of you who are exercising, you want to know that like if you never move explosively, and I don't mean explosively like it has to hurt you. I mean like if you never ever come close to sprinting ever, and you never ever actually like jump on something, and you never ever like move laterally quickly, you're going to lose that. And I'm going to say that because I recently decided, I was watching, there's this guy on Instagram here, Joe, I'll send it to you, that I kind of like his stuff. He's pretty hardcore and I don't do that much of what he says, but some of the stuff, some of his concepts, Judd Leanhard, I mean, he is jacked. He is, I mean, I look at him and I go, that's pretty cool. But he was talking about some of the exercises and movements that he would have in his stuff. And so he was having lateral hops onto a box, like lateral jumps onto a box and down, and then some lateral, what did he call them? Hip stacked hops and A skips and stuff like that. And he was talking about sprinting. And I was like, I just had this gut feeling. I was like, I need to start doing more of that. Because I don't want to be, well, you guys have all seen it, the old guy syndrome where they don't move. Like if they ever have to move fast, you watch them and you're like, oh God, don't do that. That looks really bad. Like You're not like a young athlete guy anymore. And so I saw Judd Lienhardt's stuff and I was like, I have not sprinted at all. He's like saying 30-yard sprints. Not very far, 150 feet. Okay. So I thought, okay, I'll introduce that and I'll bring in like 1 day a week. I'll do some of the lateral stuff that he was talking about. First day I did the lateral box jumps. I felt a bit of that old man thing. Like I felt my knees collapsing inward. I didn't feel strong and athletic when I landed because I knew it was just a coordination thing that my body hadn't done that in a long time. It's use it or lose it. So I thought, okay, we're going to keep doing it. I did it for the third time in a workout yesterday as my warm up. I felt like that's Judd Lienhardt's Instagram. I felt like 100% better in those lateral hops. I was like, wow, this came back quickly. And I know that the sprints still feel a little slow, like a little dragging, but I'm going, I know this will be back soon. My running feels better than it ever has. So now I do like in a half-hour walk or half-hour run and walk, I do a lot of jogging up the hills. And then I do 2 short sprints and I actually start from a dead stop. I don't go too crazy because I know you can tear your calf or your hamstrings. So I just do it. And I'm going this little bit that I added, and I'm jumping rope now too on like 3 times a week, just for like 5 minutes. And that is helping me feel like that athleticism again. Because if you don't move explosively, your body will kind of forget. And I'm even telling my son now, like he loves lifting, and I'm saying, don't stop doing sports or like athletic type movement because you will lose it. You don't want to be like one of these 20-something gym bros that you put them on something athletic and they look goofy because they never do it anymore. They just move slow in the gym. So for those of you who are at that level, I would try to add something explosive. Like as what I'm doing now, like one of the things I got from Judd Lienhardt was he does walking lunges with dumbbells. So I was doing the walking lunges, and then he said, right after you get done with that, he's like, do 5 heavy lunges with dumbbells per leg. You're just walking forward doing lunges. And then he said, then you set down the dumbbells and you do 5 of the jumping lunges where your feet switch in the air. 5 on each side. And I tried that, and he was like, this is a good like quad burner. And I did it, and I was like, yeah, that's a good quad burner. And I've kept it ever since. So, but it's super simple. It's short, not much more than 1 set, not going to failure, definitely not going to failure on the lunge jumps, So don't leave out. If you're in the gym, don't just do slow stuff. Don't do slow lifting and slow cardio alone. Put something in there, even if it's just in your warm-up where you're moving like a person who lives out in the wild would, if you will, just to do something to move your body fast. Okay. So that's pretty simple. SG Golan, thank you for the super chat. I don't think, and you may or may not like my answer to this, but the MoCo steel theory, my thoughts on the MoCo steel theory, impaired ALDH and rapid aldehyde dehydrogenase leads to an aldehyde surge, molybdenum cofactor diversion to AOX, SOX, sulfite buildup, and toxicity. I waste no time on this. I don't even think about it. The person who came up with this was unable to fully grasp that so much of the vitamin world was absolute horseshit. The whole anhydroretinol and the MoCo steel theory and eating a bunch of eggs. Try to find me a bunch of testimonials from these people. Find me a bunch of testimonials from them that all this works. They didn't do things right, and so they looked for other pathways and other excuses. One guy wanted to keep eating his fish cakes that he made with eggs. Fish cakes with eggs. Cool. Great. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. What I talk about ALDH being slow all the time. we fix it. So, I mean, the idea that, I mean, sulfites are bad. So we reduce our sulfur intake in general, except for meat. We don't put sulfites in. I'm the guy bringing the molybdenum thing out more than anybody else is. And does zinc could. So folks, if you have problems with zinc may speed up. Well, you need zinc to run ALDH. Many of us have you need zinc to run ADH, alcohol dehydrogenase. Many of us have slow ALDH for many reasons. So if you put in zinc and it starts making your ADH run faster, and then you have slow ALDH and you build up some aldehydes because they're not clearing through there, that's the same thing. I'm not going to make up like MoCo. No, I waste no time on it. This would be called what I call majoring in the minors or mental masturbation. This is getting down into the mechanisms and the weeds and going deep into the rabbit holes. And the people who are into the anhydroretinol and the MoCo, whatever, are just, it's mental masturbation for the most part. Trying to find, some vitamin A is good, but I can't even keep track of the dehydroretinol and the anhydroretinol and the goofy like pathways that cover up like 10 pages worth of space. And then we just keep pumping out testimonials. I don't need to know how my electricity works to use it and to want it to work. I want it to work. I want to just be able to go and have it work. What we do works without me having to teach everybody how electricity works. That's my explanation on that. I waste no time on these particular people who are out there screaming into the void and not pulling off testimonials like I do. So we're out here helping people. They're trying to feed off of crumbs. So that's what I got. JDS says, so if you have problems with zinc, you might need more molybdenum. Problems with zinc could be, well, we don't know where the problem is. Could it be, do people we often see with could zinc run things too fast through ADH, and then ALDH is the bottleneck? ALDH is always the bottleneck. So I don't need to come up with like theories of why. Sulfur slows down ALDH. Okay, so could aldehyde buildup be, could people having problems with zinc be them taking more zinc than they need to? Sure. Or that they could tolerate. Could that be creating more aldehydes? Yes. Could it be stirring up copper toxicity? Yes. Could it be stirring up vitamin A toxicity? Yes. Could it be all sorts of things? Yes. Here's the thing. Do I need to obsess over why zinc might cause a person to feel bad and come up with a bunch of mental masturbation pathways that I can't prove one way or the other? Or could I just say, you're not ready for zinc yet. Work on the things that are working. Put less toxins in, fix the nutrient deficiencies, take the nutrients that work, and then you'll feel better over time. And then what do we see? So the MoCo steel, right? And people couldn't take zinc or whatever because of what we see with what we're doing is over time, people are able to take more zinc. Did I have to worry about any of these mechanisms to do that? No, I didn't have to create new pathway theories of all sorts of stuff. So we go with what people tolerate. We don't have them do what they don't tolerate. And like the fix is the same. Doc, I don't feel good when I take this. Then don't take it. I don't need to make up pathways. That's the gist of it. So people can go and spin their wheels thinking about all sorts of stuff. And we're out here pumping out testimonials and curing like Fleischer rings around people's eyes and, fixing people's mood with MSG. And they're probably, I bet these people who are out there talking these other things are like, glutamate, excitotoxicity, and then they don't get better. So I don't spend a lot of time on them. That's it. Neil Dunlop asks, does the name Nose Cheesecake mean anything? You know? No, it doesn't. Christopher Rogers says real world effects mean more than speculative theory. I agree with you. I mean, that's really all. Like, I had to explain, why do sometimes people feel bad when they do some of the things we do? Like, I mean, why does somebody go into the gym and they dumbbell press and one person's shoulder hurts and one person gets stronger? It's no more difficult than that, is it? Right? We go, okay, if your shoulder hurts when you're dumbbell pressing, something's wrong somewhere. So maybe stop doing what is causing your shoulder to hurt. And maybe we back it out and we start strengthening all the muscles around your shoulder, and we teach you better form, and then you come back and you build up, and then you try it again, and then all of a sudden your shoulder press doesn't hurt. Like, it's the same thing, right? So do I have to know, like, shoulder press hurts? Oh, taking zinc makes me feel bad. Okay. Same technique. Back off. Fix the other things around it. Then when you think you can, or when you're ready to, you come back to it and you try it again. And you see, are things different now? It's the same damn thing. It's the same thing I would do in personal training. Doc, this hurts. Well, then don't do that. Let's do something else. There's always other alternatives. We have people who, at times can't even eat red meat or dark meat chicken because it seems like the zinc in it stimulates them too much. Am I going to make up a whole new theory about it? No, I'm just like, okay, eat chicken breast for now with the other stuff. And what's happening for this person? They're starting to tolerate red meat and even some zinc again. I don't need detailed mechanisms of these things. So that's that. Let's see. Macaroni Delta said, love your lifting. Well, thank you. I was thinking about writing down all the influences on my gym stuff the other day, and I was like, I don't even know if I could do that. Like, cause like my upper body's a lot of gymnastics strength type training, and then some bodybuilding. And then my lower body is like almost all like single leg and lots of glute focus stuff. And we got some explosive stuff in there. And it's like, I have a lot of ingredients into my thing. I was trying to explain positions of flexion to my boy the other day, an old bodybuilding idea of training them each muscle in different positions where there's the most resistance to it. Anyway, so it's my hobby. You should have seen me trying to remake my program. I was trying to rewrite my 3-day-a-week full body lifting program. I must have taken me like 4 separate sessions of me figuring out which exercises I wanted to keep, because I like to do all these things and I don't want to spend too much time in the gym. I actually find that I progress better on less sets. I realize now that I always was that guy. Like, I could get away with, when I was younger, probably training 2 sets, max of 3 on an exercise. I got the strongest I ever was, like dumbbell wise, bodybuilding wise. I was doing first set, I was supersetting 2 exercises. So like a press and a row, right? First set was the warm up. It was 12 to 15 reps. Pick a weight. You can do 12 to 15 reps of. Do it. Count that and keep that number for the next time. Second set was 6 to 8 reps. But you're alternating the 2, the push and the pull. Third set was 4 to 6 reps. Whenever any weight in that range, 12 to 15. If you get to 15 reps, you would confirm it the next workout. So if you got 15 reps on Monday and you do it again the next Monday, you'd have to get 15 reps again as the confirming workout, and then you would move up the weight. So you always confirm that you could do the max number of reps in that set, and then you would go up and wait. And I just kept, half a rep counted. If you went up half a rep, it counted. If you went up a rep or more, it counted. If you started at a new weight, that was your new accomplishment. And so I just kept doing that. And that was like, that was the strongest I ever got. And it was 3 sets, and one of them was a warm-up. So anyway, Like I don't need to do as much as people. So I'm doing one set of a bunch of different exercises now. You could probably say that I'm doing 8, 16. I might be doing somewhere around 48 different exercises in a week because I'm just doing one set of a bunch of different things. And am I progressing on pretty much everything? Not every workout, but am I progressing? Yeah, absolutely. So I like it. I like full body stuff. I'm done with like 3 sets of 5 for one exercise. Boring. If you want to do that, cool. It's boring for me. I don't want to do it. And I don't need to do it because my body likes my body likes more frequency and more volume than it over the term than it does doing the same thing 3 times or more. So sorry. Thank you for the super chat, SG Golan. I think we are, we should wrap it up. Okay. Joe, I gotta find that list of things. Just start running the links, Joe. So for those of you who weren't here, Joe's put up the past live streams, youtube.com. And you can use that link. Now, the other thing about the past live streams is if you can't find a live stream, go to the videos section. If you can't find the live section, go to the videos section because sometimes I had to edit it. Then it's not a live one anymore. So it's now a video. So yeah, both of those are up there, the videos and the streams. That's where you can find old stuff. Then we have the Rumble channel. Everything is on Rumble the way it was intended. So if I had to edit little special words out for YouTube, you can hear them on Rumble. Then we have Twitter, x.com/NutriDetect, NutriDetect. I highly suggest if you're going to go on Twitter and you want to see my stuff, go on my profile, which is this link, and then go under the very first pinned thread of threads. I think there's like 25 threads in there that you can go through, all referenced, all fully referenced. Facebook.com. This is our new Facebook page. So if you want to follow us on Facebook, the.real nutrition detective. That's our new Facebook page because Meta didn't like us for a while. So we had to start a whole new page. Let's keep going, Joe. This is my Substack I talked about earlier, drgarrettsmith.substack.com. That's where that six-part article is that I was talking about that took me some time to write. Lots of research in there. You guys can see, you can learn lots of stuff about me just by going through there. And you can see my treatment approaches and philosophies and all sorts of stuff because I cover all of that. And I come with references and receipts. Scheduling a consultation if you wanted to work with any of our health facilitators, Kelsey or Nathan, and have access to me via our office hours, our small group office hours. This is where you can sign up. It's the consultation tab on nutritiondetective.com, or you can go straight there. So yeah, that's where we do the testing and the consult and the support for 6 months. The Love Your Liver program, this is important. Please listen. It's a DIY program. Yes, there's a forum in there. Yes, you can talk to all the other members. The Love Your Liver program is a DIY program. You're in there. You don't expect, everybody to come, all like Kelsey and me and Nathan to be coming and helping you. That's what the consultations are for. The Love Your Liver program is DIY. Now, if you sign up for working with a facilitator, you get, as part of the package, you get access to the Love Your Liver program. That's included because we need you to know the diet. So, and then you have that for good. Let's keep going. GLASP. So GLASP is when you see my live streams and you see me highlight a title of a study or quotes within the study. You can find these quotes and the studies, the links to the studies at GLASP. It's the thing I use. Whenever you see that little highlight thing pop up on my screen with the different colors, that's GLASP trying to do its work. So anyway, you can go there and find all the studies I've covered in all the live streams since I started using it. Instagram, we have a new Instagram too. The.real nutrition detective. So yeah, they all line up now, all on Meta. They're all lining up, but we had to do new ones. So yeah, once they start not liking you, it can be a problem. Episodes 53 and 71. If you want to look more into toxic bile paradigm, if you came here from another podcast, you might have heard me talking about that. If you want to get the basics on it, these are the 2 episodes. We talked some about it with like bile dumping and other things today. But that's where you can get the basics of it. So what's next? We got love. Oh, this is today. We're wrapping it up. Love Your Liver, live stream number 219. And yeah, we did some live chat today. We did those cool testimonials with like the Kaiser Fleischer ring. I forget the exact name of it. And then we had the MSG testimonial. If you haven't seen the MSG episode, highly recommend seeing it. If you haven't seen the calcium episode, highly recommend going back there. Just back a couple episodes. And to wrap it all up, I am Dr. Garrett Smith, known as the nutrition detective around these here YouTube parts. Hope you all enjoyed that today. Yeah, the hair thing should be coming out very soon. If you want to know when it comes out right away, the founders rate, the people who come in, I forget the limited time. I think it's a week. It might be more, but I think it's within the first week. You'll get the lowest price that it will be. Okay. So just get on the newsletter list and it'll be out there. Otherwise, follow me on social media and hope that they show you my post when it's out. Okay. I will see you all later. Have a great week. Bye now.